guys, welcome back to another episode of MotoGear TV. And if you guys are tuning in for the first time, my name is Kirk, and as you guys can see by the title of the thumbnail, we're finally going to be doing some performance modifications to the engine of the BMW M2. Now these are going to be some bolt-on parts that are not only going to improve the performance but also improve the reliability of the car. Now I know that there's several brands that we can utilize for the BMW M55 platform. I did my research and luckily I was able to kind of finalize my decision. So I decided to go with a company that has been making BMW parts for some time now, and this company is ARM Motorsports. So after doing some very thorough research, I actually found out that ARM Motorsports actually does some pretty cool bolt-on parts for several BMW applications. And luckily enough, the things that they had were actually in stock. And as most of you guys should know, trying to get parts, especially for BMWs over the past year, has kind of been a struggle. Luckily enough, ARM was able to send me everything pretty quickly. I'll be going over exactly what I chose and how we're going to be installing it. So I hope you guys are just as excited as I am. Let's get started. Alright, so this is the box it came in. Take a look. Everything is neatly packaged. Alright, right now I just want to kind of lay out everything one by one, show you exactly what I'm going to be installing. Now everything in this box we're not going to be installing today, but I'm going to explain exactly why we're doing it. And yeah, we can take it from there. Alright, so boom, we have everything laid out on the table as you guys can see. Just gonna give you guys a quick rundown. We do have the charge pipes over here, nice wrinkle black finish, aluminum design, pretty good. Hopefully the fitment is just as nice. One cool feature I want to point out about this charge pipe, it does come with an additional port in case you guys want to run meth or nitrous in the future. I think that's pretty cool to have just in case you want to take it a step further. Rather than having to make an additional port, they kind of have it set already. Next up we have the turbo outlet pipe. Again, pretty nice construction. This is designed to hook directly up to your turbo. Moving over here, we have the catless downpipe. Really nice finish on this one as well, and it does have the ports for your O2 sensor. Now we aren't going to be installing this one today simply because I want to wait until we get the car tuned, so I'm going to actually be saving this for a later episode. But to move on, this is the final piece to the puzzle. We have our nice front mount intercooler. This one is in a gold finish with the ARM logo sprayed on. Now typically you'd have to order a stencil in order to put the logo on, but because they were so nice, they actually did it for me. But just to show you the stencil, pretty nice quality, very solid as well. For those of you who are interested in doing it yourselves, you guys can do it in any color. I preferred it in the black. It looks pretty nice. The finish on it is really good, as you guys can see, and it should definitely give the front of the car a nice little pop. Now I think each and every component listed out here is pretty important in improving not only the performance of the car, but also it's able to kind of maintain how long you're able to run the power for. So for those of you who have BMWs and are interested in tuning or anything like that, you'll know once you push the car hard enough and long enough, it will suffer some form of heat soak. Not only that, but if you're running higher boost pressure, some of the stock pipes in the car can't necessarily handle all of that pressure. And the charge pipe is one of those main components that is easily susceptible to cracking. So this is why it's a key step in your upgrade process to go ahead and change these out. It just makes everything much easier to deal with, especially if you're planning on tuning. Same thing goes for the downpipe. You're able to run higher boost levels because of the extra flow. Now I have run catted in the past. My preference for this build is to do catless. The car sounds really good right now with the BMW M Performance exhaust, but I wanted it a little bit louder, so we're gonna go ahead and test this out, see how I like it, and if later down the line it's too loud for me, I might switch to a catted, but for now we're gonna go with this. And then same thing for the intercooler. Now this one, from what I recall, does have a bigger surface area compared to stock. When we take out the stock intercooler, I'm going to show you guys a comparison side by side so you guys can kind of see what the difference is. The kit also comes with all of the gaskets, all of the couplers, and all the hardware necessary for you guys to do the install. So that's just a quick rundown. Don't want to waste any more time. We have a lot of things to get done today, so let's get right into it. So I absolutely think we chose the best time to do an install. It's currently 87 degrees, feels like 97, and there's 70% humidity. But the good thing is at least when we install the parts, we can kind of test out to see if it's actually making a difference. Alright, right now the first thing we need to do is go ahead and remove the under tray. Once we've done that, we'll have access to take out the intercooler. To get it out is pretty simple. It's held in by 2 screws on each side. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what it looks like. Alright, gonna get up close and personal for you guys. Alright, so there's 2 T25 Torx bolts on each side. Hopefully the camera can focus. One right here and another one on the other side. Once we unscrew this, we'll have to remove the remove the C-clip, one on each side. That's going to allow us to then slide the intercooler down and out. Hopefully we shouldn't have any issues to get it past any of these plastic pieces that we have underneath. For what I do know about this upgraded intercooler, you shouldn't have to trim or remove any of the pieces to get it in, but the real test is going to be when we actually do it. So let's go ahead and get these things out. Alright, we're back. As you guys can see, we have to move the car in for obvious reasons. Nonetheless, we're going to continue where we left off and get the intercooler removed. Just set up a nice little panel light so you guys can kind of see what's going on. Got Mark doing the last removal. I'm going to go ahead and slide it out. So careful. Just be careful. Alright, beautiful. I'm gonna set this aside. So the first step is down. We got the intercooler removed. Just wanted to give you guys a side-by-side comparison to show the difference between the stock intercooler and the one we're about to put in. As you guys can see, the surface area of the front of the intercooler is much larger than the stock one. This is an air-to-air intercooler, and with it being so small, it's not really utilizing the space of the front bumper in the opening right there. This one I think should do the front opening more justice. It has a larger frontal surface, so it provides better flow throughout the entire face of the intercooler. And unlike other intercoolers I've seen that have more of a step design, this one is pretty flat. From what I've seen, or at least researched, I know this is only my opinion, having a larger surface area allows the air to cool much more effectively than having a stepped, because as air passes through the intercooler from the front to the back, it does increase in temperature. Now having this design now with a bigger face, it kind of allows the volume of air going through to again be more efficient in the cooling process. It should also be much easier to install because it is so slim. We're going to find out right now. But yeah, this is just kind of showing you guys how they compare side by side. Yeah, and also the design of the stock intercooler isn't very effective if you're going to be running higher boosts, simply because the construction, as you guys can see, this is all plastic, whereas on the upgraded version everything is a metal aluminum core, very sturdy, much more stable. Guys, moving on to the next step, which would be to begin to remove the charge pipe. Now in order for us to do so, we're going to take it out from the bottom of the car. There is a C-clamp right here that you need to remove, and also the switch for the map sensor right there. You're going to need to disconnect that. You can go ahead and wiggle the charge pipe off, and then you're going to pull it from underneath the car. Just going to take our flathead and try and take it off. I'm going to be very gentle because you are going to be using this back. Pull. Careful how you pull. That part is up. Now we aren't going to be able to slide it off completely until the charge pipe is disconnected. Next thing is the map sensor right here. Just going to go ahead and disconnect that. Now we're going to have to use the flathead to kind of get into the clip right here. Lift it up. Comes off just like that. Okay, this is the little tab that holds it into place. All you have to do is push up and pull. Okay, now there is another vacuum line that's connected right here. You just have to squeeze at the side, pull it off. Very simple like that. And then the next step is to wiggle off the charge pipe from the throttle body. I think we're gonna go ahead and wrestle this one out. I'll come back to you guys as soon as we make some progress. Alright, now before we go ahead and put in the new charge pipe, I just wanted to talk about the stock one very quickly. This is definitely something that I suggest everyone who's going to be upgrading the power in their BMWs to change. This part is very notorious for cracking, especially under higher boost pressure. The design of this with the plastic is very susceptible to cracking, especially right here. Now we just wanted to go ahead and at least inspect the inside of it to make sure that there's no oil. As you guys can see, it's pretty dry in there, which is a good sign to show that there's not a lot of blow by. Now if there was, it would indicate to me that we probably need to clean the valves or probably do a oil catch can, which I probably want to do in the future, but for right now this is a good indication for us that we don't really need to do anything further. Now this is the design of the new charge pipe. It does also come with some O-rings, and then we're going to transfer the C-clamp from the stock pipe to this one and put everything back in. Now there is also the turbo outlet pipe, also known as the boost pipe, that does need to go in. Never attempted this one before. It does seem pretty simple, but I might hold off and do a little bit more research on it before we go ahead. We're just going to take one more look inside to see if it is possible, but if not, we might put this for another video. Alright, so we got everything assembled, ready to go. Got the C-clamps, the sensor, got the silicone with the new clamps installed as well. Don't know if we're going to get it in one piece, but that's going to be our first attempt. Worst case scenario, we'll just have to separate these two pieces and then connect them once we have it installed in the car. Okay, this is attempt number one. Let's see. Alright, so we reached the point in the install where we have a little bit of a setback or issue. The opening for the charge pipe to go onto the throttle body isn't fitting up as easy as we thought it would. Trying some different methods right now, going to see what works, but just going to have to keep working at it because we're not going to give up. And yeah, stay tuned. Alright, so show you guys some progress. We did manage to get the charge pipe on the throttle body. This was very difficult. What was happening was the charge pipe wasn't going all the way up on the throttle body. We weren't sure if something was wrong with the opening, so we decided to take a chance and try it without the gasket, and funny enough, it actually went on. Now, we didn't want to put it on without the gasket, so what we went and did was we used the gasket from the stock charge pipe, and this is the one that came with the kit. Now, it is pretty thick compared to the OEM one. What I'm going to do, at least in the meantime, I'm going to run the stock gasket. For now, if we do run into any issues, what I'll do, I'll just buy a brand new OEM one. That was what was holding us up. We are going to go ahead and attempt to put in the remainder of the charge pipe. Hopefully there's no more issues, and then once that's done, we can put in the intercooler. Now, in addition to the intercooler, we did go ahead and get these upgraded intercooler hoses. Now, these are a more effective solution compared to the stock connection. It's better to utilize this with the upgraded charge pipe. It allows for easier connection. Pretty simple and sturdy design. Does come with clamps. This is going to connect to the charge pipe and also the boost pipe. And I think you should just tie in the whole package together. Right now Mark is finishing up getting the lower part of the charge pipe installed, and then we can go ahead and put this in. Alright, so it's day 2 on this project. We're still kind of having some fitment issues getting the intercooler all the way up. We notice that there might be some resistance, especially with the strut bar in the front. So what we're going to do right now is to remove the front bumper, and then hopefully we can address the fitment. This is the last attempt, so hoping to make it worthwhile. Alright guys, and I think that's going to wrap it up for today's install. Just wanted to give you a quick review of my overall thoughts on ARM Motorsports and their products. I've been driving the car around for about a week now, put a decent amount of miles on it, being able to do different driving conditions both on the highway and around town. The car seems to be performing nicely, working well with other components in the vehicle already. The intercooler and the charge pipe aren't necessarily going to give me more power, but it's going to allow me to have more consistent power, and that for me is a very key thing, especially while upgrading the car. Now in the later episodes, you guys are going to be seeing me add a downpipe as well as do a tune on the car, and I think when we get to that stage is when you're going to see some real action. Now while doing the install, we did run up into some fitment issues, especially getting the intercooler in. The surface area is pretty large, and for some reason we did have a little bit of resistance pushing it all the way in due to the strut bar in the front. Now I don't know if this is going to be the same circumstance if you're going to be putting it in a 235 or even a 335 or 435, but we did have some fitment issues there. That would be the only thing. Other than that, the charge pipe fit really nicely. As I said, if you guys are planning on installing this, I would go ahead and use the OEM O-ring gasket for the charge pipe. It fits much easier compared to the one that comes in the kit, and other than that, everything else fit up pretty nicely. I will say I'm gonna definitely see the benefits of this once we get to the next step, which is gonna be the tune and also the downpipe, so you guys are gonna want to stick around for that. But for now, as I said, I'm pretty pleased with the end result. Everything seems to just work very nicely, and I don't really have any complaints just yet. Now I am going to be doing another review once we get all of the bolt-on parts assembled, just to kind of see exactly how everything ties together. But so far I can definitely see a benefit with having the intercooler and the charge pipe. It's important to note that as you add more power to your car and the harder you drive it, you're going to be prone to some heat soak. Now this is typical for most performance cars. Anytime the car is driven for an extended period of time under harsh driving conditions, the internal air temperature is going to increase. Now because of that, in order to not cause any damage to your car, the car is going to pull back timing, and with that you're going to end up losing power. Now the main benefit of having an upgraded intercooler is so you can run longer and better. Simple as that. Now bear in mind, I plan to drive this car plan to take it on the track. I'm going to need as much protection and as much things to safeguard anything from happening to it. And with that, I would encourage anybody to do the same, especially if you guys are running these engines. Now, if you guys are interested in any of the parts that we use in today's install, I'm going to leave a link for everything down below. Make sure you guys go and check it out. ARM Motorsports definitely carries a host of parts that you guys can use, especially for the N55 and the N54 boys, B58 as well. These links are affiliate links, so if you guys make a purchase, it definitely helps out the channel, so go ahead and show your support. As I mentioned before, we have a lot of exciting things coming up. If you guys want to see some more, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Turn on your post notifications. Let us know in the comments what you think about the overall install and everything that we've done to the car today. Stay tuned for the next one. You guys are not going to want to miss it. Until then, we out.